Hello, everyone. I am so honored to be here with Larry and Taylor Thompson. Now, I just really quickly want to give them an introduction because if you don't know them, you have to, okay? I was very blessed to meet these two at an event that I had attended. Now, I had been working in this network marketing company. I had grown a really great business. I was one of the leaders in the company. And then I realized people were coming to me for advice. Well, I'd only been in the industry for 2 years. And I was like, if people are asking me for advice and I don't have a basic knowledge of network marketing, I better figure this out. So I looked for a coach. I've learned that the fastest thing that you can do to speed up time is find a coach and a mentor and surround yourself with people who have gone before you. And through that coach, which was Mr. Ray Higdon, I had the pleasure at my very first Top Earner Academy event to meet Larry and Taylor. And, you know, for what they have accomplished in their lifetime, for the millions of people that they have impacted, for the millions of dollars that they have made, for the over 100 millionaires you've helped create, these people are the kindest, most humble, most down-to-earth people that I've ever met. And they truly made me feel like I could do it too. And that is the biggest blessing when it comes to network marketing. So without further ado, I want to introduce you guys because you've just released this book that was locked in the vaults called The Millionaire Training. And I'd love to just hear a little bit about this book and why you decided to create it after all of these years.
I love it. Well,
she's the reason.
Well, thank you so much, Christina. And thank you so much for having us here as your guest today. We're super excited. You know, you said there's a lot of things that you said that I really wanted to tap into. So many gems and nuggets. But first of all, to your point, like I remember meeting you at that event. Your smile, your warmth, your authenticity. You know, you and I connected immediately, and we have just really been, I think, good friends ever since that point. And to me, that's network marketing is, I mean, people say, you know, you hear this relationship, you know, casually building, but I really truly mean that. You know, I really believe that there is a relationship and connection that you and I have. So thank you so much for having us here. So I'll tell a little bit about this. I feel like this is
she's going to take over here. Now, you understand? I'm the guru, and she's taking over. Okay, go ahead.
Hey, Larry, I'm going to talk to you in a minute. I already have something planned for you. Don't worry.
Listen, I love it. I love hearing it, watching her. It's wonderful.
Well, because, you know, I mean, whenever you speak to Larry, he's so humble, and he doesn't even realize his own genius sometimes. And so, you know, it takes somebody like me. I mean, whenever you think about, you know, 28 years ago, whenever I started, you know, in this industry, you know, mom care, I wanted mom care versus daycare. I was looking for that way to make an extra $800 a month, you know, around my babies. And so many women still true to that day. But I was very blessed and fortunate because I came into the, you know, this environment. I call it the learning, teaching environment. And these millionaire training tapes were handed to me. And, you know, I learned these concepts early on and adopted those inside of my business to, you know, to your point, that I learned like, okay, if they can do it, if they can do this, I can do this. And I learned that mindset early on based around these training tapes. So Larry was my mentor from the start. You know, I didn't know him. I never met him, but he was my mentor from the start. And so it goes back to, so his sister was known in Herbalife as the lady truck driver. And
a real lady truck driver. She can spit out the window at the best of them. You know what?
Wow, I love it. I love that, though.
But so she was the first Herbalife distributor in the state of Texas. And fortunately for me, she was my upline. So she wasn't my direct upline, but she was like my second. And so I was able to be in this environment, you know, and the Larry environment and the millionaire training and learning all of these concepts. And so, but whenever you take it back 40 years ago, so Tish, his sister, Tish Roisin, the lady truck driver, was sitting in this room. This training was recorded. It was actually recorded in February of 1981. the very first training that Larry did as the VP of sales and the strategy behind Herbalife's first billion in sales, Tish was sitting in that room, and they argued whether they were going to spend the $150. Now I'm going to go back 40 years. I mean, they didn't have audio devices, recording devices at your fingertips. It wasn't available, and it was going to cost them $150. And they debated on whether or not they were going to do it. Mark Hughes, the owner and the founder of the company, he said, we're going to do it. We're going to record it, and this is going to be called the Millionaire Training. So he's the one that deemed it. And from that point and from that moment, these audio cassettes were in people's distributors kits. That's what went out in everybody's distributor kits. And then, through the 80s, and that's why we have all of these different contributors here, because all of these people, whenever you look at, Jeff Roberti, most people, know him in the industry as the $100 million man. He started with Larry in Herbalife as a broke waiter. Dan Stamen, he was the co-founder of World Ventures. Him and Jeff grew up together, and they came to that same Herbalife meeting, and they started together.
Wow.
You have Rolf Zorg, who he is his company. Larry helped get started. He learned how to speak English. He's a German who learned how to speak English listening to Larry's training. And his company, Larry just mentored his second company to over $1 billion in sales in 2019. So these are part of all of these stories that they, in 1985, they basically, the FD, keep in mind regulatory was involved then. All these people were having such great results with the product. They were making all of this money. The FTC came in, the FDA came in and sued Herbalife. And they went through they called it the controversy, and Herbalife didn't lose. All they had to do was what it came down to is they changed 16 words on their label. But because of the bad press, because of the fake news, in USA Today, they were claiming that these products were killing babies.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Headline.
The headline news. And so you can imagine trying to sell your product or build your business whenever you were going up against such a giant in the news, the fake news.
Wow.
And so they went from $100 million in sales a month down to 3 million. They lost 100,000 distributors within 90 days. And so it was all of these people, the Dan Stamens, the Dan McCormicks of New Skin, Rick and Michelle Teague of Modere, Lisa Grossman of Prove It. I mean, they took all of these briefcase of skills that they learned, and they took it out and they went to build their own companies and their legacies. And so this is a paying homage to not only what Larry poured into them, but what they did. And they took those skills out and they poured it into other people. And so the stories that are in here are quite amazing. They're social proof exactly that concepts never change and they still hold true. And, you mentioned Ray. I mean, Ray's in here too. We were working with him before him and Jess were married. I mean, so it's so crazy, all the connections. But I share that just because this book to me was important because it was Larry's legacy. It's Larry's, yes. I wanted him to have that. I wanted him to have that legacy. I wanted it to be documented. I wanted it to his life work and the contribution that he's made. I want it to be documented and shared with the world in the right way, in the right manner.
All I hear is how much you love your husband. That's what I hear in your words, is how much you love your husband. And I'm sitting here watching Larry.
I don't make this bit. It's a different story,
Well, I'm pretty sure you signed up pretty quick to mentor her when she walked in the room. Okay. So it's such a beautiful thing to watch. And I really appreciate, Taylor, that you shared that, because so often life goes by and we don't think about our legacy. We don't think of what we're going to leave our family, our kids, what our mark is going to be on the world. And you guys have made such a huge impact to millions of people. Does that ever sink into you? Millions of people you've made an impact to. Right. And so I think it's such a beautiful thing because it's funny because I've been picked up to write in a couple of books this year. And in one of the books, focus on network marketing, I couldn't write in that book without talking about the Thompson rule and how that changed the way that I saw business, because I didn't understand that, number one, I didn't have to be the guru knowing everything about the product. All I know is when I take it, it works, right? That was something I had to learn from you. The other thing that I didn't understand is that not everyone was crazy motivated like I was. I didn't understand that people wouldn't stay up until 2 o'clock in the morning if they saw the potential of this business. And so that was a huge learning curve for me, because I scared a lot of people away in my first couple of years, and I didn't understand my mistakes in that. So you guys have really helped me understand culture and duplication. And that's what this book is about. It's about culture and duplication. And I really appreciate that, Larry. From these trainings, they really have kind of stood the test of time. Like they continue to stand the test of time. And one of the things that you're talking about here, which I really appreciate, is the difference between marketing and network marketing, right? Yeah. So do you want to talk about that just a little bit for people? Because right now we talk so much about social media and branding and all marketing and all that kind of stuff, but like what's the difference, and why was this so important for you to bring forward?
Well, Taylor was excited about it from the legacy standpoint, and obviously all the contributors in the book, I mean, these are the top of the top of the top of the top. And to me, it was more important, as much important for their legacy as it was for my legacy, because everybody stands on these guys' shoulders. Okay, there's a connection to everybody in this book here, and it is the principles. We talk about the concepts, but concepts and being synonymous with principles that you build upon. And why now? Why after 40 years was this book being written right now? And it is because of what's happened. And everybody is all excited about how crazy and exciting network marketing is, and it is, okay, because of residual income. We used to be the only game in town. If you wanted to start as a long-haired hippie construction worker like me, I never finished high school, okay? I quit school at 16 to go to work in the construction field. I was just too shy to give the oral book report that was required back then. They don't even have to know how to read today, but you used to be able to do the book report and walk across the stage. And I had it done, but I was too shy to do it. Mm-hmm. And so I wasn't going to graduate from high school, and people didn't go to college back then like they do today. So I knew where I was going to end up anyway. Mm-hmm. And I started working immediately with my dad and my brothers and my cousin and uncles. It was a guy thing, and I loved it. I loved working that. I loved it. It was just great. It never, ever occurred to me, Christine, to think about doing something different besides construction work. It never occurred to me, never thought about it. Okay. And I was happy. I talk about people being dissatisfied, and that's who you look for, is dissatisfied people. I wasn't dissatisfied. I came down to that meeting that night for a couple of reasons. Number one, a fellow that I worked with, his name was Mike Fuller. He worked with a different crew than we did. He's a little bit older than us. And I always respected him because he owned his own home, and he had a couple of duplexes that he bought and rented out. But the biggest thing was, on Thursday for the lunch trunk, he still had money. We were borrowing money from him on Thursday to get through to Monday, And so I had a respect for him that was a little bit different. And he called me on a Monday night about 6:30 at night, okay, and invited me to a meeting in San Jose, California at the Hyatt Hotel. Now, and he started talking about opportunity and money, and I wasn't listening to any of it. He got me at the Hyatt Hotel. I had never been in a hotel in my life. And we used to drive by there. It was on First Street and 101, that little funny intersection they had up there. And I'd drive by there, see all these fancy cars, and they had that porte cochere, where you drive underneath and they open your doors. And I thought, how cool, And so when he said we're going to go to a business meeting at the Hyatt Hotel, and I didn't say yes right away, but he said, we got to make a decision real quick because we have to leave in 15 minutes. I wanted to go. But I had real long hair. I was a long-haired hippie construction worker, and I was having a bad hair day. You know what I mean? Can I make it work? And I went to the hotel, and Mike wanted to park in the parking lot. I said, no. under the parking chair, open the doors. And I never will forget that bellman opening that door and seeing me stepping out with that long hair and my beads and my moccasins on at this big fancy hotel. And I loved every minute of it. You know, I scratched appropriately and everything. You know what I mean? I had it down.
I love it.
And finally went in there there's a whole story how it all happened, but I ended up on the front row of that meeting that night to a set of circumstances. But two very significant things happened. And if these things wouldn't have happened, I would never have known the difference. I'd still gone through my whole life in construction. Never would have known the difference. But one of the things that happened was the person giving the meeting was Bobby Depew. And Bobby is the original strategist and tactician of network marketing. We didn't call it network marketing back then, but he was. He came out of the first big
pyramiders.
Pyramiders.
Right. Is that what you actually called them back then?
They were pyramid, not multi-level. That didn't come until 1979 with
Wow.
Amway. Okay, but now we're in the 60s.
Drug dealers were here, and pyramiders were even.
Oh my
God! From us. Okay, and so anyway, long story short, here, Bobby was given that meeting, and he came out of the first big network market. It's in the book, okay, about Neutral Bio, who came out of Neutral Bio and all of that, and what took place there, because we got the history in the book. But Bobby used to be a school teacher, and he had a way of communicating. He was very soft, mild-mannered, very frail, 5'9", 160 pounds. But he had a way of communicating. I actually felt like for the first time in my life that someone was talking to me. And I'll tell you, there are a lot of things that you got to understand the crowd that was there. These were all heavy, hardcore salespeople. 3-piece suits, okay, cigar smoking, whiskey drinking, white shoes at the meeting, driving Cadillacs. That was a group, and here's the long-haired hippie like this coming in there. But Bobby made me feel so special because I felt like he was only talking to me. That's the way he had the ability to do it. And he said something at the end of the meeting that really got me to set up and pay attention. And he says, listen, it's obvious that we're making a lot of money here. He said, everybody could tell that. And they were, you could tell it. Okay. And he says, and I'd like to promise you that you can make this money too. He said, but I can't. He said, but I can't promise you we are. And I can promise you if it turns out for you just 10% what it's turned out for us, it's going to be the greatest thing that ever happened to you. And I'm thinking, 10%. I defaulted my long-haired hippie, never finished high school default position. I gave away the 90% and said, oh, I'll think about 10%. That got me thinking maybe I can do that. The second thing that happened that night was there was another guest there that night that joined the same company the same night, and that was Jim Rohn. And Jim Rohn was there because Bobby wanted him to become vice president of sales. And Jim said, listen, I'll come and do it, but I got to build an organization first to prove myself out. Both of those guys put their arms around me, and they saw something in me that took me years to figure out, okay? That burning desire that we talk about. It was there. I didn't know it, but they could see it. That willingness to work, because I was taught very early on, because my dad coming out of the Dust Bowl and coming out of the Depression and all that stuff, $1, another day, another dollar. You probably heard that expression. What does that mean? That means someone says, how you doing? Say, another day, another dollar. Good for you because you made $1 for that day's work, okay? That was called cool, okay? And so I was taught early on that if you're going to get paid for 8 hours worth of work, my dad always told me, he said, you can always get a job. He said, it may not be the job you want to have, and it may not pay you what you want to have, but you can always have a job, get a job. And he said, once you get that job, if they're going to pay you for 8 hours worth of work, he said, you make sure you give them 10 hours worth of value for that 8 hours worth of work, and you'll be the last one to be let go on that job. So the desire I had, I didn't recognize it. They did. The willingness to work, they saw just by my activity and being teachable. Okay. And they put their arms around me and they saw something in me, that desire, burning desire, ones were that I see in people all the time. I see it. I can see it in the truck driver. I can see it in the school teacher. I can see it in the landscaper. I can see it in the accountant. I can see it. And they can do it because I know if I could do it, they can do it. If they just give themselves the authority to try out. But long story short, they figured out if they could get me to be successful with them working with me, then what could happen is all those three-peat suits, whiskey drinking, cigar smoking guys, if he can do it, you ought to do it. Okay, you can do it. And we became very, very close. Our families became close. Okay, my mom and they just loved my mom and my dad. Okay, and so it was a very tight relationship. And so I worked with them all the way until their passing. And no one spent more personal time or stage time with Jim Rohn than I have. And so that philosophy, I had the strategy and tactics and the philosophical approach from Jim, strategy and tactics from Bobby. And they passed that torch to me unofficially the day that this was recorded. Okay. The day it was recorded, they passed the torch to me. And from that point, this thing has gone on to affect it. But the real reason why this book now is because the principles, the real principles of network marketing are just about been forgotten. Everybody talks about how great network marketing is, and it is. Don't misinterpret what I'm saying here. But since 2015, it went like this. And since 2015, for the last 4 years now, we'll know when the final figures come in for this year, it's been going downhill. And the reason for that is because marketing has taken over network marketing. And as a result of that, okay, everybody has Taylor's favorite thing is people have to learn to become marketers before they become network marketers. And if you mix the basic fundamental principles of network marketing as it really is and take it into a fun, simple, magical format, that's what this book is all about. This is about a timeless message, but it's more importantly, it's about a future message.
I think this part is real important, Christine, to tie this in because what he just said about the default position, that is the 80%.
Yes.
Right? That's where he learned that messaging, right? That's become a philosophical approach. That becomes a philosophy in the way that you do business and how you communicate with people. And so whenever you go back to our journey, whenever we started working and training, and whenever we started doing this, we pulled away from everything and we're just working with companies and working with leaders. 2009, this is whenever social media really started taking off.
Yeah.
And so what happened is that over here in the stateside, people are like, oh, that's old school. That's old school. And so we really kind of started questioning our principles, our foundation, our core values, to be honest with you. And sometimes, when you're in the forest, you can't always see the trees. So we started working over in Europe. And what happened was very interesting for us. It solidified everything that we knew to be true in our mind, because we started working with a group over in Spain, and we were working through translation. And with these fundamentals, they weren't doing social media. That wasn't a big deal for them, but they were new networkers with no networking knowledge or background, just everyday people, just like what we were doing. And they started working with these principles, and they started growing, and they started really building nice residual businesses. Well, what happened is that Italy, next door to Spain, they were like, hey, what are those guys doing over there? Now, keep in mind, we were working through translation. But what was interesting for Italy is that the demographics were different. The demographics were between the ages of 18 to 25. And they were doing social media. Now, they had never done network marketing, but they were highly involved, especially like in Instagram. And so what they did was they took these principles and they blended it together with what they were doing in social media, and they grew exponentially. And we were like, okay. And really, so philosophically, we really started realizing, okay, the truth of the matter is social media is a delivery mechanism. Mm-hmm. We've always had social media with us. Whenever you think about social media, whenever Larry started, he did postcards that he mailed out into, I don't know, most people may not know what a phone book is, a yellow pages or the white pages anymore, but that was his lead generation was, all the addresses and mailing them out on postcards. Hey, I I got a business opportunity. If you want to make some extra money, give me a call. Right?
Wow.
My social media was, I did business card flyers. We'll pay you to lose weight, and for them to phone, to call my phone number, find out. Social media is the same. It's a curiosity. He was creating curiosity. I'm creating curiosity. That's what the posts are. It's creating, all it is getting someone to what? Raise their hand.
Yep.
That's all social media is. So it's a way to do it faster, quicker, better. But here's the thing, why most people are missing. If they had the fundamentals and they knew the principles and the psychology behind these posts, conversations, getting them to take the next step towards you, now they work faster, quicker, better. And so many people are trying to implement these techniques of social media without the foundation of the principles, or about the principles of network marketing. So it's really fascinating because whenever you look at our space, and whenever you look and see what happened with people that are doing this and blending those two worlds together, it's amazing to see the results of what people are experiencing. It's fascinating.
And social media algorithms, I'll use that as a description, changes so rapidly. Okay. What you're doing today in social media is different from what you were doing a year ago, because it's changed. Okay. Drastically different than 2 years ago. Yeah. So if you build your business on an ever fast changing platform, okay, you're always trying to play catch up. But more importantly, you talked about duplication earlier. We talk a lot about that in network marketing, duplication. There's been very little duplication go on in the last 4 or 5 years. It's been addition. There's been more money made by fewer people in the last 4 or 5 years than ever before, but it's addition, one who gets one. Very rarely do we get one who gets another one. What we're talking about is multiplication, okay? Being able to get one that gets 5 before you even talk to them. Okay, without them having to go learn all of these social media things. And most distributors always take the passive least resistance, and they think right now they're being told you got to learn more to do more. Okay, well, guess what a distributor will do? If they got to learn more to do more, they don't want to do. They don't want to talk to people. They don't want to get out there and do the dirty work. So they want to learn more. And as soon as they learn something, they try it a few times and are off to the next thing. So the reason that this book is so powerful today is it bridges that gap between traditional network marketing principles and social media current contemporary application. And so it's very, very, very powerful. And the bigger picture to that, network marketing used to be the only place where the long-haired hippie, the stay-at-home mom, the school teacher, the truck driver, the waitress could start with no experience, very little money, and go make something out of themselves. Okay, that's no longer the case. In the direct sales space in America, there's approximately 6 million people right now. That's what the number is. And out of that, 1 million are full-time and 5 million are part-time. That 80% group that you're talking about, and that number is shrinking. Okay, and the reason it's shrinking is because people today can go other places to start as a long-haired hippie in the gig world. And in the gig world, there are 60 million people out there today that are actively looking right now for something that they can do with. They don't want to disturb their lifestyle, but they do want to make some extra money, and it's $500 to $1,500 a month. And if they can make that without disturbing their lifestyle, you can get their attention, and they can start this morning and be making money in the gig world. I'm talking Amazon affiliate, yes, Uber,
yes.
X, all the different stuff that's out there. Okay. And today in network marketing, you can't do that. You got to learn how to post. You got to learn how to blog. You got to do this. You got to do that. You got to be honest. You got to go big or go home. You know, all of that crazy stuff that they teach us. Okay. They're being taught out there. And if this blends in, network, the big deal about network marketing in the gig economy is residual income.
Yes.
It's always been the key, but it's a residual income. That's what we have over the 60 million but the people got to understand the audience, the language, and the behavior. And that's what we teach with this here with our academy. Who's the audience, who's the language, who's the behavior. And it's fascinating what's happening. Fascinating.
It makes a massive difference knowing the basics, because I think so many people get in and that's, duplication can work negatively too, by the way, right? It can work in a way that can very much hurt you and hurt your business and hurt your audience and not make them loyal. And one of the things that I think is a fundamental that you guys teach is how to ask the question, because how many people on social media have been pitched a product without asking, without raising a hand, and then somebody in their inbox has been pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. And that's not the way to do business. And that's what's giving our industry a bad name. Whereas they should be asking if they're even open to information, see if they've raised a hand. And the key that you guys really hit home for me is whenever you, talk about your business, your product, but in relationships, this was a huge thing. When you talk about something, you need to make sure that the person you're talking to feels good about themselves, feels good about you, and feels good about I do listen and I do apply, and feels good about what they're talking about, right? And that has fundamentally changed how I communicate, not only with my husband, but with my team, with my siblings, with anybody that I speak with, because I realize that we all have different ways of communicating, and having that in the back of my mind at all times, that no matter what, I want this person to feel good, whether they purchase something or not. Am I bringing value to them? Am I helping them? Do they appreciate what I bring forward? And when we come from a place of service versus taking, right? Like, I didn't get a customer today. I didn't get anybody to join my team. We have to stop with the get and the entitlement mentality and take a step back and realize, hey, we can make money right away. We don't have to get a university degree to do that. You can come from any single background, and with tools, honestly, like this book that will teach you the fundamentals of the entire industry, you can go forward on social media without pissing people off, which is what we want, right?
Yeah. It's so true. I mean, I love what you're saying. That right there, and the you, it, and them, we call it the you, it, and them. That kind of mentality, and what you said is something so key, not only in business, but it serves you well in outside of business. And that to me is what, whenever, sometimes people go, well, I'm not in network marketing. Well, it doesn't matter if you're network marketing, because these concepts right here will serve you in life. And how you deal with relationships. And whenever you have these skills, it's something that nobody can take away from you, whether you do network marketing or you don't, whether you stay around or hang around and keep hanging around the flagpole or you don't. But this piece right here, the you, it, and them, is so magical. And I will tell you, that's a concept that we've had so many people, to your point, whenever they learn that piece right there, the weight has been taken off of their shoulders. They are excited about their business again. They don't feel icky or salesy or like, okay, that's uncomfortable in the way that you position it, because it gives people a way to say, yes, I want to buy, or no, I don't, and still have a relationship with dignity. I mean, even our girls, even our daughters, none of them are involved in network marketing, right? You would think it would be quite the opposite. But even with them in their 20s, being involved in social media, they know. They have so many people that reach out to them, like, even they know, they're not even in network marketing, but they know it's wrong because they hear what we say. Whenever we say, they get the message, right? The message, oh, I see your Instagram. You would be so good in my business, right? And there's that resistance that's created, not one of bad intentions, but just one of lack of understanding, a lack of knowing, or we'll say, being ignorant of not knowing the right way to approach people that doesn't create resistance, that creates them to want to be attracted to what you're doing. And so that is just that right there, what you just said, Christina, could change everybody's business with just that concept alone.
And when you think about you, it, and them, I mean, that is so powerful. It's unbelievable. We talk about raising the hands. Okay. you just, like Taylor was saying here, everyone says our daughters, you'd be great for that. How do you know they'd be great for this? You don't know them. You saw their post or you saw their thing on Instagram and you're reaching out like a vulture to trying to get someone to recruit or buy. But the whole deal is whatever that, we've been taught transactions with marketing over the last half a dozen years instead of relationship. We talk the word relationship, but we only go with marketing, and it's designed to funnel, get yes, narrow it down. It works like crazy in marketing, okay? It has, think about if you can take those curiosity concepts and those things and put principles and fundamentals to them, what would happen? And it's as simple as whenever you talk to someone about anything, they need to feel good about you for talking to them about it. They need to feel good about it, whatever's being discussed. But here's the biggie. They need to feel good about themselves for whatever natural, logical conclusion that they arrive to. Yes, I want to buy. No, I don't. Yes, I want to join. No, I don't want to join. And feel good about this whole process. Because that, if I'm a distributor and I'm pointing my finger out here talking to someone about this, okay, it's very important that when I get through here, if you, it, and them, the person I'm talking to, if they feel good about themselves, regardless of the transaction or no transaction, that's respect. Guess what? The person doing this feels good about you, it, and them.
Yes.
The person that you talk to heard it once, felt it once, saw it once. You get it 3 times. That's how you get duplication and multiplication, because I feel good about doing what I'm doing, and I like me doing it the way that I'm doing it, and I don't run into this. I'm afraid I think I got to get a yes. I got to get a yes. Anyway, we can go on and on.
Yeah, it's just such a mindset shift for the person who's sharing it, because whenever you take that weight off to where they feel good about being in activity mode, right? And you take that pressure off of them, then they'll do more. They'll want to do more because they feel good. They didn't make somebody feel bad. They didn't feel bad. It's such a mindset shift. It really does create magic whenever you understand it.
You know, and I have been talked to in multiple different ways, right? I've been approached by the person that's like, buy my stuff. I've been approached by people that want to build a relationship. And you know what? You know, we're sitting here, we're talking about different companies. We're talking about collaboration. We're talking about learning from other people. It doesn't matter what company you're in. We're in the same industry and we need to rise together, and we need to have a better, bigger standard for that industry so that we treat people the way that they want to be treated and are excited about it. The one thing I want to leave with you guys, Larry, you talked about desire. And, you know, in my lifetime, I've had some people that have believed in me, not my parents, not anybody that's really connected with me, but people that have like looked at me and seen something in me that I didn't see in myself. Yeah. And that is a gift. When you give that to somebody, when you reach out and you start talking to them, they may not see it as a gift because they don't quite see it in themselves. But if you're watching this right now and somebody's reached out to you and said, you know, Taylor, maybe it wasn't the best way, but like, oh my God, you would kill it in my business. It's because they see something in you. And that belief, that building belief in other people. If you want to build a big business, you want to build leaders in your business, you want to have something that duplicates and has layered leadership, you start believing in people. It doesn't matter what skills they have, they come in with. You look at them and you believe in them, and you continue to believe in them with every challenge that they face. And you got this. You continue to do that. The magic that happens, and I can say that in front of you guys because, like I said before, you've created over 100 millionaires. You have seen that in people and told them, and they believed it. Just like when I met you at a different place in my business, not just, you know, I came in, I made some money, but like I was in a leadership position and I wanted to do more. I wanted to make a bigger impact. And for you to look at me and see that in me made me realize I could do it too. That is the biggest gift you can give anyone. I really, truly believe that.
See, for me, it's simple because I know who I am. I'm just a long-haired hippie construction worker that learned a few things. Okay, and was very consistent at doing these things and stand committed to what Bobby and Jim taught me and to pass it on. I know there's nothing special about me. Okay, I mean, I'm a hard worker. I got that part. I'm a nice guy. I got that part. Okay, and I'm helpful. I got that part. But the reality is, most people are Most people are nice people. Most people are hard workers. Most people want to help other people. Most people do. Okay. And so it's just being able to realize that it's just not that difficult. Network marketing is not that difficult. There's only a half a dozen things to know. And after that, it's desire, willingness, and being teachable. And the half a dozen things are in the book. Okay. And
so go on and buy the book.
They're there.
We don't have to beat you over the head with it, okay? That's not what we want to do here. But, you know, when it comes down to it, you guys, I really appreciate, because you didn't have to do this. You didn't have to share this legacy with us. And this is going to be very impactful for the people that take it, learn the fundamentals, and then make it a hybrid when they pivot to social media or the next thing, right? Because we're constantly in a changing world. But once you know the fundamentals, if I knew that I could grab a book instead of like heartbreak and mistakes and everything over the past 4.5 years, I would have grabbed the book. I would have gotten into the book and read it and shared it with my team and shared it with my friends. So thank you so much for going. You don't need the money. You don't need to do this. And you did it for the people. And Taylor, you did it for your husband. And I really appreciate that about both of you, you know, to see the love that you guys share and that you really are out there for the greater good of the industry, of humanity. You've made such a massive impact. And I'm so grateful. Thank you so much for taking the time today and being here with me. It means a lot.
We're really proud of you.
Yeah.
I want you to know that. I love what you do and how you do it.
Well, and then, you know, if they're listening, you know, we're going to be doing like a free book club.
Oh, yeah.
So if they want to, you can go to themillionairetraining.com. And so we're going to be starting a book launch, book club. So if you're doing the book, you know, we're going to be like, it's free. And they can buy the book because it'll take them right to Amazon so they can get the book right straight from there to just go to themillionairetraining.com. But yeah, we're super excited just because, you know, being able to collaborate, you know, I love that word, you know, collaborating and working with people because we are in the same industry and we should want to protect our industry, want to protect what it is and the gift that it is and the gift that it's brought to so many people's lives. And, you know, to not take it for granted and to realize that at the end of the day, I mean, network marketing is and can be the average person's best chance. It was ours. It was all of us whenever you look at it. And so whenever you keep that mindset and you think about it from that perspective, we can truly have an impact on a lot of people's lives. And that's ultimately, you know, at the end of the day, why we wanted to do it. I mean, but so, and I hope it does. I hope it does serve and help a lot of people.
Yeah, and I got to say something about the book club, okay? Because that's something that the last minute here was very important to me. And I said, listen, it's one thing for a person to buy the book, okay? And you'll find out that in this book, every one of these people are students. This is not a one-time read. This is a 40-year read, a 35-year read, a 5-year
Yeah.
read, however long you have it, okay? It's there, and we're all students of this information. Every one of us are students of this information. So we decided to have the book club. It's free, okay? And anyone they don't have to buy the book to even be part of the book club. They come and sign up and guess what we're going to be doing every week? Having these kind of discussions in detail about what's in the book. For example, page 72, how to employ yourself. Okay. How about this? Okay. Page 53 here. Okay. To talk about how the gold mine attitude and how you have to approach that. And the most important page of me is 110. Okay. 110 is, and it says, you're good enough as you are right now. Very important thing. And we're going to have not only all of these people, but all of you people out there that have gone and doing this are going to be on this book club every single week with us that you can. And you're going to be hearing the principles and the concepts and the philosophy, regardless of your company, regardless of your product, regardless of your circumstances. This book club is going to be the driving force for the next half a dozen years.
Oh, I'm so grateful. Thank you so much for offering that. And I definitely will be heading on over there and signing myself up to that book club. Can't get rid of me that fast. Hope you guys have an incredible day. Thank you so much for being here today. I appreciate you. I love you. And congratulations on this book. This is brilliant. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Christine. Thank you so much for having me. Love you.
You're welcome. Bye. Love you guys.